Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the first annual Classic Rock and Metal Review Halloween special. Got all kinds of little tricks and treats for you. Actually, no tricks, just all treats, I believe, now that I think about it. Music and horror talk, all right, befitting of the season. We'll say goodbye to Ace, of course, our masked spaceman, departing this planet anyway, right around this season. It's just only fitting, I think. Gonna recap the Exhumed 24-hour horror-thon that I just attended. Also, I've got a true ghost story for you. That's all I'm gonna say, all right? You heard me right. I saw a ghost. No kidding. Late last year. I've been conflicted about coming on here and telling it. So I decided a few months ago to do it, but decided to wait till now. All right. The sighting, the events that happened around it, it's just so freaking incredibly crazy. It really is. I mean, it's right out of a Stephen King novel, except that it actually happened. All right. If you don't believe in paranormal, then I'm just going to say don't believe. Don't believe. All right. Just sit back and listen to a great ghost story. All right. So let's get started. And this beer is one that I picked up about a month ago. All right. It's that time of season. Cape May Brewing Company. Now, I can take or leave their beers. Half of them are good. Half of them are just too easy drinking and light. And in the summer, maybe that's fine. But here's one called Ghost Tracks. And it's actually really good. I bought a 4-pack and went back for another 4-pack. The ABV on this, let me just double check. What is it? I want to say it's actually 8. I thought it was like in the 6 range. But it is really fruity and easy drinking. It's not super hoppy for something this strong. Let's pop this. And it's going into my Brown Derby glass. All right, I found this online. Brown Derby restaurants. They used to be in shopping malls, including the Monroeville Mall. Multiple scenes in Dawn of the Dead. What they're saying is you found the best place. So I think you guys have found the best place for a nice chunky half hour or so, I'm going to estimate, of horror and rock and metal entertainment. Actually, no rock at all. It's all metal. All right, so let's let that settle down. That pour was a little aggressive. Damn, I can't wait to get some ghost tracks and ghost stories. The lighting in here looks pretty cool, but I got some notes jotted down that I could barely see. So anyway, let's just start out with Ace Frehley's passing at the age of 74, the first original Kiss member to leave, of course. Man, Space Ace, as far as many fans concerned, the coolest guy in the band. I think you would say that from the beginning. He was the coolest, and he died the coolest. All right, that's what I got to say about Ace. We all know about how his guitar playing is. It's not the fanciest, the fastest. It just worked. He worked. That sound went right with what the band was doing. He fit like a glove. Paul and Gene, of course, the brains of the band. Yeah, they're more professional, reliable, stuck it out all through thick and thin. But Ace and Peter were more the spirit of rock and roll, in my opinion. You know, the two of them. Ace playing on 10 Kiss albums total, 5 live Kiss albums, 3 of the Off the Soundboards also in addition, all right? 10 solo studio albums and 2 live solo albums. I have to admit, I never owned any of Ace's material, not even his 78 Kiss debut, until, man, this is just a whole show of crazy coincidences. Not even a month ago, I got Ace Frehley's 78 album, so I hadn't gotten around to listening to it. But I did listen to it on the way up to the Exhumed Fest in Phoenixville. This is a really good record, as all you know. Some people think it's the best thing with a Kiss name on it. I wouldn't go that far. I heard it twice. It's really good, though. It definitely is. Rip It Up just kicks ass, man. That's my favorite. I don't know it great yet. Speeding Back to My Baby's pretty damn cool. Some sort of 12-bar rock style. What's next? Snowblind's pretty awesome. Ozone's really good. And you guys know what's up. This album's really cool. It's a good, nice pickup. And just, what are you going to do? These guys are getting up there and leaving us. And unfortunately, it's just another one gone that we all just love. Love Ace's voice, man, that nonchalant singing style, you know. His personality comes across in that record, and I guess some of his other songs. I've heard some other songs here and there. It's really kind of like a garage band style, you know. That's how it comes across to me. So we're all absorbing this still. Of course, it sucks, not saying anything new there. We'll all miss the spaceman, Ace Frehley. We could sulk about it, but that's not what Ace would want. You know, at this point, filming this 28th October, I was glad to hear that Gene and Paul and I think Peter were all at the funeral. So that's cool, as I expected them to be. But, you know, anyway, we don't need any further drama. One of the legends passes. Get your ass to show your respects, and I'm glad they all did. So anyway, huge thank you for the music to Ace Frehley, classic member of Kiss, of course. But speaking of music and Halloween, this time of year, there's one group that just, it's so crazy because September 30th, I could take them or leave them, you know, unless I'm happen to be in the mood. But October 1st, I just have to hear some Merciful Fate. Literally the first day of the month. As soon as I see that it's October, I'm called to listen to Fate. And love all the early stuff. The EP, first two albums. But it's been a few years since I heard this, but I only heard it for the first time maybe like 4 years, well, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Return of the Vampire, which I listened to also driving up to the Exhumed Festival. Man, what do you guys think of this one? Collection of 81 to 82 demos, released in 1992 on Roadrunner Records. Some songs, or parts thereof, would be used on songs on their first album, and so forth. But has one uniform sound to it, which really kind of makes it feel like it's its own album. And it's kind of a really fuzzy guitar sound. Yes, it's heavy, but that tone on the guitar is just a fuzzier tone than Merciful Fate would put on even the EP, you know. This really feels to me, even though you got like Curse of the Pharaohs on here. What else? Death Kiss, which I think is Dangerous Meeting, I think. Corpse Without Soul. But you do have several other songs that weren't on those first two albums or the EP. And some of them just have parts that were in other songs. But this almost feels really like another album to me. It really kind of does, those 3 songs aside. Just because the sound is just, like I said, that super fuzzy metal guitar on here that was not Fate's sound on those other albums in the early days. Really cool album. Highly recommended if you don't have it. Now, it's from multiple sessions, too, which is kind of cool that they were able to make it sound like one cohesive recording session. There are multiple bootleg options out there for Merciful Fate or gray market releases. I just think before you even go there, you need to get this album. It's kind of like mandatory Merciful Fate. Return of the Vampire from 1992, 81 to 82 demos, all right? So they're my favorite Halloween season band. My favorite horror movie of all time. There's another one that's right there. I'll talk about that next year, but if I had to, gun to my head, I'm going with 1978's Dawn of the Dead. George Romero's masterpiece, zombie thriller, which I'm due to rewatch. It's been a little while. I have the 4K Second Sight 4-disc version. It has tons of extras, which is really why you buy that thing. All 3 versions of the movie. Absolutely love it. Sadly, though, I wanted to pass on this more recent news. The Monroeville Mall was purchased by Walmart, the whole area that it sits on. Tentatively, they're closing the mall by spring of 2027. All right, soapbox moment. I was out there 2 or 3 years ago. I was shocked by how occupied and how busy that mall still is. It had to be at least 75-80% occupied, store-wise, and had decent foot traffic, I thought. Biggest mall near me where I grew up in Northeast Philly just closed, completely. 2 or 3 years ago, they looked like they were closed. This mall is doing pretty well. Walmart wants taxpayers to pay the $7.5 million to knock it down. That just cracks me up. I mean, I guess they don't have the money to knock it down. Only the 30-something million to buy it, not the 7.5 to demolish. But I just think that's a great idea. Let's destroy a landmark with good foot traffic and occupancy and build another couple of box stores. They want to build a Sam's Club and a Walmart, of course. I don't know. I just rant over. All right, so just a heads up. This might be possibly in 2026, the last Living Dead weekend that's centered around Dawn of the Dead. They're out there every October doing Living Dead, or Night of the Living Dead conventions. And one just went on the last few days, this past weekend. Anyway, June 2026, I'm going to try to get out there. I was trying to get there this year. Now that the mall's slated for demo, got to get my ass out there. But Dawn of the Dead, my favorite movie of all time. But of course you've seen that classic, and if you haven't, what the hell are you waiting for? Pick a version, they're all great. Actually, someone on YouTube combined every available piece of the 3 different versions and bonus features and everything to put it together, the longest ultimate Dawn of the Dead. Check that out. I did watch that once. It's really cool. Anyway, perfect segue into my latest acting role. You heard me right. Most of you probably don't realize I am a great professional actor. And I've probably been in a total of, oh man, at this point, 1 film. All right, I'm not even sure about that, to be honest with you, because I haven't seen the final cut. But just released theatrically on October 23rd, George's daughter, Tina Romero, her movie Queens of the Dead, in select theaters, also coming to Shudder soon. I've also seen some pre-order action on Prime Video on TV. It's a horror comedy, okay, that I have to tell you, I initially didn't really like the plot at all right, as a matter, but you know, I couldn't resist. It's a Romero film, a Romero zombie movie. It was filmed in a couple hours from me. I threw my name in the hat to be an extra, and they said, come on down. How can you resist that? I was on vacation that week anyway, so anyway, I think it was in like Patterson, New Jersey, last summer, and they wanted us to be there at midnight, shooting through the dawn of the dead. But did do a couple scenes, so hopefully I'm in it, and it actually looking at the trailer, a little cooler than I expected it to be. It is horror comedy along the lines of like Return of the Living Dead, let's say. But I do kind of like it. The synopsis is you have these 2 competing clubs, a drag queen club and like a straight club. And they have to work together to help each other survive this zombie outbreak that happens, I guess, on a Saturday night in New York. So, but look at the trailer. It's actually pretty decent, and I'll leave a link to the trailer in this description down below. Worth watching, you know, at least once. And it was just a really cool experience watching the filming going on. The stars of this movie were like walking right past us. It's kind of cool just hanging out with a bunch of zombie fans all night long, you know. I'm not even certain I'm even in it, like I said, but I still want to watch it just to see if I am. I would be one of the zombies in the back wearing a suit. Anyway, and it's in the theater, but not close enough for me to go to. It's, you know, all the way up in Philly. But anyway, like her dad, Tina ties in a lot of sort of social commentary. I also hear some nods to the original Dawn of the Dead soundtrack in her soundtrack, at least in the trailer. So I kind of like that there's going to be some of these little hidden nuggets in there too, worth watching for and listening for and so forth. So anyway, Queens of the Dead just came out October 23rd. I say don't go see it, but watch it when it comes on TV at some point. See if you can pick my suited up zombie ass out. And if you see me, let me know. All right, on to the Exhumed Horror-Thon. This is a 24-hour horror-thon, all right, of classic 35mm film print horror. It's in Phoenixville, PA, so it's about a 90-minute drive from me, and I met some cool people there that I had only talked to on the phone and such. Chris Allo, you know who his ass is, right? From C, and also Craig Kaminsky, got to meet him, and that was great. Some other dude named Dan, I never caught his last name, but it was great hanging out with these guys for 24 plus hours basically. Oh my God, this beer's amazing, by the way. Damn, I've been sipping it between edits, so you haven't been saying. I'm topping off. This is a winner. And it's so easy to drink, it's a little dangerous. Anyway, so the Exhumed 24-hour Horror-Thon. All right, here's the little brochure they hand out, which is kind of cool. If I remember right, I think it's kind of like a little mini poster. Get some schedule there, okay? Approximately when the movies will be on. Like I said, it's all 35 millimeter. They play right in a row. The only thing they do different is play like maybe 3 or 4 trailers in between the 2 movies. It's kind of cool. Your little handout becomes a poster, and it lists, I think, somewhere in here every movie that they've ever shown. So the gist of it, one of the coolest aspects of it, they don't tell you ahead of time what these movies are going to be. It's 15 flicks, and they're just back to back, and you don't know what they're going to be till they just appear on the screen, which is really just awesome. The only hint you get is this little, like, vague hints of each movie, and they want you to try to make a guess, and whoever gets the most guesses right wins, like, prizes. So I didn't even bother guessing. I have no clue. I'm not like a film buff or anything. I guess a couple people guessed a few of these movies off of this, but they're crazy vague. I just don't get much time to do shit like lay around and watch movies. Between work and family obligations, man, that was probably my favorite aspect of this. Besides meeting those awesome dudes, Chris and Craig and Dan, it's exactly how you'd picture those guys to be in person. And not that I pictured anything else, but that was great. Hanging out with and meeting some new friends, basically. Got on great. It was awesome. But the magic of this thing, what I thought was so great about it, was just being basically held captive to just watch movies, and random stuff. I went back, I don't know, to the 60s on up to more recent, actually. I don't know how they got a 35 millimeter of a recent movie, but they did. Now, I didn't watch them all. In fact, I only watched, I think, like 6 or 7 of them. But anyway, give you a little history of Exhumed Films. They were founded in Philadelphia in 1997, basically to show horror and exploitation films in all of their original 35 millimeter glory. And their biggest show being an annual Horror-Thon, 24 hours straight. It began in 2007. It's been at various locations, Jersey and Philly, and recently settled into the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville, PA, which that theater's claim to fame is where part of The Blob was filmed. The famous scene where the Blob comes into the back of the theater, sends people running out, or maybe it comes in the front. I did see it, but it's been forever. Anyway, people go running all out of the theater, and that's the Colonial Theater. They still have held an annual Blob Fest celebration. It's like a street party, and they do recreate that scene where everyone comes running out of the theater. It's really kind of cool looking. Everyone gets dressed up like it's still the late 50s, I want to say. All right, very cool, fun event, it appears. So I love, like I said, just watching nonstop horror. It's just great. You could bring anything you want in the theater. I was bringing beers in, going back to the car and rearming. So can't thank Mr. Allo enough for taking me under his wing and getting me hooked up with the tickets and just giving me the lowdown. It was great, man. When we weren't watching the films, we were hanging out. So the 35 millimeter thing, man, I absolutely love that. I mean, when's the last time I watched a movie in original film quality like that? I don't know. The 80s on TV when they were showing, like Creature Double Feature near me, in Philly. I totally see the allure of that aspect of it for sure. Phoenixville is the first time I was there. The main street that the Colonial is on is just multiple breweries and indoor-outdoor eateries / breweries / bars. Total party scene, but everyone there is cool. So anyway, what were the films that I saw? There was 15 and I saw 6. Excellent beginning for me though. Just getting my feet wet with it, and man, my ass will be back there again for sure. So anyway, first film that came on at noon on Saturday. I've somehow managed not to see this, and these guys are my favorite band, 1963's Black Sabbath, Boris Karloff. This was the United States version. I really liked it. It's 3 different stories. It was cool. Next up was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark from 1988. I might have saw pieces of this back in the day, or not. I don't know. Horror comedy. We bailed on that. We went to have lunch. we came back in time to see the third movie, Sleepwalkers from 1992. Stephen King. That was great. So those Sabbath and Sleepwalkers were two of my favorites. Next up from 1960, Blood and Roses, an Italian vampire movie. It was just okay. Its claim to fame is it's one of the first sort of lesbian scenes in there. The movie was just all right. Not really great. Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane, 1977. Jodie Foster. It's more of a suspense thriller. It actually looks cool and worth watching. Chris wanted to bail on that. We went and had dinner. But I'll go back and maybe watch that sometime. Next up was a really good one, and I saw this back in the day, but probably only once. Remembered some scenes. Innocent Blood, 1992. Cool vampire movie, yet another. And that was just a really cool rewatch. I mean, I only watched it once, so it's been 30 years. It was great. Next one I stuck for, and the other guys kind of left on, except for Dan. Jack Be Nimble from 1993, a New Zealand sort of violent drama, I guess is how I put it. It was really cool. I liked that movie. And again, that's part of the allure here. The charm is these random things, you know. I missed the next 3 movies after that one. From about 1 a.m. till 5, I went and slept in the car and got myself together. All right, so I actually thought I was only going to miss 2, but somehow I missed 3 movies from 1 to 5:30. So I slept through Messiah of Evil from 73. That looks cool. Killer Party from 1986. If I remember right, that's nothing too special, because I think I saw that. Bliss from 2019. All right, I missed that one. So I have no idea what that one's even about. I've never even heard of it. I got there in time for some Christopher Lee action from 1975, Night of the Seagulls. Not that great. All right, worth watching once. But this was really cool to see in 35. It's just all those little staticky, scratchy moments, and the film gets a little messed up here and there. This movie really deserves that kind of treatment, you know. This is not one I would want to even see on like 4K. I leave it shitty looking like this. It's a really dreary movie, and it looks best on dreary old film. Next up was Tourist Trap from 79. We bailed on the festival at this point. It was running behind. They were having some projector issues, but I saw Tourist Trap a year or 2 ago. Next one I came home and watched, Witchboard, 1986 with Tony Katane. Nothing special there. I do remember seeing that back in the day. It's nothing great. Bram Stoker's Dracula. This would have been something worth hanging around for, obviously, from 92. And then last but not least was Slither from 2006. I don't think I ever saw that one. All right, but that was your list. Per Chris and Craig, this was the weakest lineup ever, you know. So still, I had a great time, and I highly recommend anyone that can get out there. Any of your latecomer asses, get your ass down for the 26 version. I'll be there. It's every October. Exhumed Films, 24-hour horror-thon. Finally, guys, what could be better than 24 hours of straight horror? Well, how about a true ghost story? I mean, my heart's like pounding just thinking about it. Just trying to get these words out. All right, actually, it was actually a small series of events. It really was. Or maybe just coincidences. I don't know. You guys can, I'm not even going to try and decide. This all happened to me the final week of 2024. And yeah, I do have notes, and that's what I'm touching over here because they're folding and I can't read them. I fully admit that this sounds like bullshit. I do. It sounds made up. Absolute horror, paranormal, novel shit. It really, I know. I'm not denying it at all. It's insane. It's crazy. I hear you. I can hear you out there saying that's because it's made up. Guys, it's 100% effing true. I swear on my life and everyone that I hold close to me. No, I'm not very religious, but I'm religious enough not to do that, okay? May I be struck that if anything I say here is a lie. Let's start there. Quick personal background, though. Did I believe in the paranormal before this happened to me? And the answer is yeah. I had some weird thing happen to me and also 4 other people at my house in Philly. It wasn't scary or anything. It was just very unexplainable. And I also, very reliable source, gave me a horror story from actually when they stayed, her and her husband, in a hotel in Cape May, which is the most known shore town in Jersey for ghost sightings and stuff. And she had no reason to lie. She would have just looked like an idiot lying to me as a coworker. But she was also a friend. Anyway, so I did believe, based on that, and also someone else asked me a few years ago, my brother-in-law, do I believe and why? And I mentioned those two things, but I said, you know, thousands of years and probably tens of thousands of people have reported stuff. Like, either they're all playing the biggest joke on mankind ever, you know, and they're all in on it, like spread across centuries, right? Or, you know, or it's true. And I said, I just don't think they're all lying, because it only takes one of them to be true to make them all possible. That's just was my view going in. Now, still, I never seen anything until this. All right. All right. So chapter 1 is the gift. I even entitled it for you. And the gift being, my wife knows I get an entertainment value out of ghost stories and stuff. So for Christmas, in my stocking, Ghost Stories of Ocean City, New Jersey. All right. We live right near there. Chapter 2, the sighting. This would be the Sunday after Christmas, which was December 29th. Sitting out on friend's deck. And they are located on 6th Street in Ocean City. And happened to be looking towards 5th Street. All right. And between 5th and 6th lies the church. But it's more, they call it the tabernacle. Christian value. I'm staring off towards that direction. All right. Right across the street from where the tabernacle is a park. And I see this guy walking. Now I don't see through him. He's not gray. He's not white. He looks like a guy walking across the street. An old guy, 70, 75 maybe. He's taking long, slow, deliberate, plodding steps, okay? And I got a profile view, the side view of him. And first thing I see is, you know, oh, look at this old dude cruising. This is like around 4:30. It's like dusk, okay? I admit. Sun goes down around 4:45 or something. I don't know. It's getting dark, but the sky's still lit. It's not dark, okay? And there's street lights on. He's on the sidewalk, as if he just crossed the street. But now he's on the sidewalk. He's 5'10" or 5'11", and he's broad. I see he's broad-shouldered. Even from the side view, you can see with his strides how wide he is up top. He's wearing black coat. And I don't see it at first, but after a step or two, well, first of all, he's wearing a top hat. It's got a brim, you know, like not Abraham Lincoln style, but, you know, a Stetson or whatever, you know, it's got a black hat with a brim. I see, because they're ruffling in the wind, blowing in the wind, his coat jacket has coattails. Yeah, coattails. And I'm like, me, Mr. Fashion Forward. First, I actually think, it's funny how fast your brain works. Man, I hadn't heard that was back in style, you know? It's so ridiculous now. Doesn't make any sense where he's walking, okay? He's walking up towards a firehouse, the administrative side, offices, you know, not the garage where the trucks are, on the side. I'm like, what the hell's where is he going, you know? Doesn't make any sense that somebody's trying to go into the firehouse office at almost dinner time on a Sunday. All right, and as I'm watching him, he just disappears. And but the craziest thing is, as I'm following him, you know, when you're following someone walking, your eyes are always looking slightly ahead at where their next step is going to be. And after 5 or 6 steps, and like I said, they were long, plodding steps at this pace. Okay, so each one I got a profile of this guy with one leg, like the legs, and he, at one point, he's not where he should be. And when my eyes like look back to see if he stopped walking, he hadn't stopped walking, but you could only see like the back third of him, you know, like this much of him, but side profile. I saw like the back of his head, the back of his hat, the back, like the back shoulder, the back foot. It was so crazy. It was like there was a line drawn down him, and the front had entered in something, and the back still hadn't. And he took one more step, and he was all gone. And where he went was this total black, like it looked like smoke, like this blackest smoke you've ever seen, like when a fire is finally doused, how black the smoke gets. And I'm just staring like, what the hell, you know? And I'm like, I get up and I like walk 20 feet across the deck to get that much closer, like it was going to make a difference. It is a block, half a block away, a quarter block away. They're short blocks though. I just gave you all the detail of this dude. You could tell I saw him clearly. And street lights are right there, and so forth. And I'm just staring. I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to debunk myself. Okay, he must have stopped. He must be standing there and you can't see him, and it's too dark. No, I know what I saw. He's going to turn around any minute and be back on the sidewalk. He must have stopped the turnaround. No, he never did. He never went forward where it's a little brighter than where he was. He never turned back where it's brighter where he was. He's just, I'm staring and staring for like minutes, and I'm trying to like come up with any reason why this guy should disappeared, you know. And there's no explanation. There's no explanation. There was a hedge there that he walked past. It's about 6 foot. It's not like a bunch of little hedges you could go between. It's one big bush. I thought maybe he went in there to take a leak, but it's like, that doesn't match what I saw. I saw him walking and then walk into whatever you want to call it. I don't know. This dude was there and then he was gone. And a couple minutes later, 5 or 10 minutes later, my wife came out on the deck, and like she came in and I went to tell her and I couldn't. I just couldn't. You can't wrap yourself around it, you know. Man. All right, so that's the sighting. So chapter 3 is the patient. This is where it gets insane, all right? I work in healthcare. I've been in healthcare since 30-some years, all right? And direct patient care for like 20-some years. I've never taken care of a patient who hit himself in the foot with an axe chopping wood, all right? That's new to me. I never heard that one. They were trying to control the bleeding, they couldn't. I ended up taking care of him, okay, directly. That was New Year's Eve. All right, so New Year's Day, we're sitting around. I'm off of work New Year's Day. I worked New Year's Eve, or whatever, till 7 or 8. So this is sitting on the end table. What the hell? It's like 5, 6 o'clock at night. Let me thumb through this for a little bit. Ghost Stories of Ocean City, New Jersey by Tim Reeser. Okay, this book's from 2003. This was a stocking stuffer. Okay, I don't have a library full of books about paranormal. I got one a couple Christmases ago, read through it, and gave it away. This is the only one I actually own, because this is only the second one I've ever owned. So let's go to chapter 1, The Founding Father. So that's what we'll call this chapter, right? This audio book. It's only 5 pages, but I'm going to just read it to you, because this is what I was reading on New Year's Day. Man, holy hell, man. If we were to anoint someone the founding father of Ocean City as we know it today, perhaps the one individual most worthy of that designation would be Simon Lake. Although he perished in 1881, there are those who believe Simon can be seen strolling the tabernacle grounds, as he did so long ago when only the vision of a beautiful seaside resort existed. It all started September of 1879. 4 Methodist clergymen, 3 brothers, Wesley, Ezra, and James Lake, along with William Burrell, crossed the great Egg Harbor Bay to the sparsely populated island of Peck's Beach, which is now Ocean City. They followed a winding cow path to a spot next to a small cedar tree, remnants of which are said to still exist, memorialized on the tabernacle grounds. At that tree, the small group of visionaries committed to a dream to which they aspired. to build a Christian resort that would provide sanctuary and healthful recreation to the faithful, an environment that would conform to their Methodist ethic. On that late summer day, they made the decision to pursue the goal that eventually became Ocean City, America's greatest family resort. Of course, like countless dreams, it would take many years and large amounts of money to accomplish. Following their return to the mainland, the three brothers visited their father, Simon Lake, at his farm in Pleasantville. They convinced him to fund the venture, which he did by borrowing $10,000 against the farm, a considerable risk and considerable amount of money in those days. The Lakes used the money to fund the purchase of every square inch of the island, that's Ocean City, for an amount estimated at $100,000. They wanted complete control over the development of the new resort and planned to buy out of all claims, thus avoiding any dissension from problem landowners. The Lake brothers succeeded in their acquisition plan, which was made possible by the money and guidance they received from their father, Simon Lake. Simon Lake became a central figure in the development of the new seaside resort. He served for several years as president of Ocean City Association, formed the same year, 1879, to oversee the buying and selling of lots on the island. By all accounts, their new venture proved successful from the very beginning, as they sold more than 500 lots during the first year of operation. The association reserved the area between 5th and 6th Streets from the bay to the ocean. That's about 9 blocks for religious worship. So the entire island between 5th and 6th used to be the tabernacle. And by 1881, a large structure existed there as the center of worship, which is still there. The grounds of the tabernacle were planted with beautiful gardens and lawns, and Simon Lake could often be seen sitting on the porch of his son's house on 6th Street, wandering among the lovely gardens, admiring their beauty. I'm almost getting like dizzy just telling this, man, like thinking about what I saw. However, Simon met with a fatal accident very near his beloved tabernacle. Guys, hold your assholes for this one. While cutting and clearing brush near the beach, experimenting with conserving the sand dunes, his axe slipped and severed his foot. An infection set in, and back in a time when the miracle of antibiotics did not exist, he died of blood poisoning. The loss shocked the small town, still in its formative stage. The town patriarch was gone and deeply missed by his sons and the community. Our story now switches to the present. A notable Ocean City resident and business owner, well known for his knowledge of the island's history and expertise on the early architectural stylings of its buildings, surmises that perhaps Simon Lake's ghost haunts the tabernacle grounds. He based his theory on multiple sightings of an apparition seen wandering the grounds and the circumstances under which he emerges. The specter of an old man appears leisurely strolling among the gardens, admiring the grounds, just as Simon did so many years ago. He is usually spotted in the midst of community upheaval over an unusually contentious issue. He appeared wandering the tabernacle grounds several years back during the highly publicized referendum to reconsider legalizing the sale of alcohol. He materialized once again more recently after ratification of a new city high school. So just so you guys know, that high school ended up being built between 5th and 6th. All right, so that was what they're talking about there. Making alcohol legal, of course, that goes totally against the founding father, what he wanted, all right? And more recently, there's talk of a huge hotel going up at the boardwalk at 6th Street. So another maybe reason that this happened, you know, honestly. Like, I didn't know any of this crap until I read this book, all right? Could it be that Simon Lake, Ocean City's founding father, taken from this life under mysterious providence, perhaps before his time, before he had the chance to complete his work here in Ocean City, the father who backed his son's venture and guided them in the early years? Is it possible Simon Lake to this day watches over the city, guiding her as he did then, as any father would? You can imagine what the hell. I actually, when I saw that part about the axe I just jumped right up and told my wife everything that I saw. Now this was 3 days later. This was on New Year's Day when I was reading that book. So I don't know. As far as that part, I don't know. Like I said, I already believed in paranormal before all this happened. But to me, this is absolute proof. There you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, man. I have no choice but to. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Guys, that's going to do it for this one. This is our first annual Halloween special. A scary story. Gave you some of my favorite music, movies, a little goodbye to Ace. And yeah, look out for Queens of the Dead. You'll see my awesome performance standing there going like this. I gotta say it. I hope I'm in there. I'm not even sure. And man, just the Ace. And actually, speaking of Ace, I got a next coming up. Next couple episodes going to be a Kiss bootleg review, something that came out a few months ago. All right, you need to hear all about it. And then maybe a Sabbath update. I think we're kind of due. I watched the new Ozzy documentary. So we got that and some other stuff to talk about. Made in Japan by Deep Purple. Which one's the best? I'm going to find out, and I'm going to tell you, all right? Give you my point of view. It's been a lot of controversy ever since that Mr. Wilson remix. I'll just put it that way. But I haven't heard it for myself, but I'm going to hear it all coming up before I bother reporting on what I think's the best. I'll listen to it all. Guys, everyone have a great Halloween. I hope you still subscribe even after this crazy episode. All right, I'll catch you all later, everyone. Peace.